All right, coming up today, we have a J-League match between Juke and, oh goodness me, that looks Dutch, which means there's basically a 0% chance I pronounce this right, but Poetje, the Dutch fella. I'm not even 100% sure I'm pronouncing Juke right. I'm assuming it's Juke, but maybe it's, I don't know, some foreign word I don't recognize, like juke or juke. Who knows? In any case, these two are in J-League 5. I believe Juke is currently 5-7 after having played 2 matches, and Poetje has not played any matches yet. So they'll be looking to pick up some wins here. If they ready up. All right, here we go. Okay, First Kingdom looks like a really strong one. Very strong. So things that jump out to me immediately is you've got trashing, you've got actions, you've got draw, you've got buys. So you can build very big here. It's also very flexible because there's Way of the Chameleon round, which means your draw cards can double as your payload cards. So first things first, the draw. There's 2 draw cards here. Oh, actually, that's not accurate. There's 3 draw cards here. So one is Hunting Grounds, just +4 cards. It's like a net 3 cards, like a smithy and a half. Ranger is draw. It draws you 5 cards every second play of Ranger. So each Ranger on average is giving you 2.5 cards worth of draw. So net drawing 1.5 cards. On its own, weaker than Smithy in terms of draw, but it also comes with plus buy, which can be pretty valuable. And then the third draw source, the one that made me revise my statement that there are 2 draw cards, is in fact Courtier can be draw, because Way of the Chameleon is around. And the way Chameleon works is you choose a card, an action card, and then you play it, except reverse all of the plus card effects or plus coin effects and vice versa. So Courtier can become +3 cards instead of +3 coins if you want it to. And so then indirectly, Overlord, I guess, can also be draw if you play it as a Courtier or a Ranger. So what are you doing here? Well, you got draw. You also got actions, Squire's action, and then Recruiter can get you Villagers, which is action. Note that while Recruiter says +2 cards, this is not really a draw card because it also trashes a card from your hand, so it ends up being draw neutral. Like if you have a 5-card hand with a Recruiter in it, you play the Recruiter, you're down to 4, you trash a card, you're down to 3, you draw 2, you're back up to 5, you're back where you started. So Recruit is a really strong card. It trashes and it gives you Villagers, but it doesn't really function as a draw card. Plus buy can come from Ranger and or Squire and or Courtier. And trashing we saw as Recruiter. You could also trash with Cemetery if you want. So how do you build? Recruiter seems like absolutely the most important card to get in the early game, no question. It trashes, it builds up Villagers. It's just really good in general. It's, I think, arguably the best card in the game. On 5-2, I'm clicking Recruiter here without a second thought. On 4-3 or 3-4, I think you have a more interesting choice. I think on 4-3 or 3-4, I'd probably actually just open Overlord with the idea that you can play Overlord as a Recruiter. There's no 3s or 4s here I really want all that much prior to getting Recruiter. That's priority number 1 for me, I think, no question. And so take the Overlord. It's like an expensive Recruiter that comes with debt. The benefit is, even if you didn't hit 5, you still get to get that Recruiter into your shuffle in the first shuffle. But it just seems super duper important to get the Recruiter in. It trashes quickly and efficiently, and once you get those estates out of your deck, then you're going to be able to hit 5 and 6 consistently. I think the general deck composition you're going to want here is you'll have some Recruiter for plus actions. Honestly, 1 might be fine, but maybe you want 2. You can feed it golds. Courtier can just gain golds really cheap, and then you trash the golds to Recruiter, and you're getting 6 Villagers per time that you do that. And so you will not be short on actions. Even like 2 Recruiters could support a ton of terminal plays. And so Recruiters trash, they'll eventually be Villages. They just kind of do everything that you want. And then you'll draw with probably some combination of Hunting Grounds and Ranger. I think probably 2 Rangers is a good number. So Ranger itself is weaker than Hunting Grounds in terms of draw by a pretty substantial margin. 1.5 draw to 3 draw. It takes 2 Rangers to cover about as much draw as Hunting Grounds gives you. But Ranger gives you plus buy, which, I mean, you do want. You don't necessarily want to have to spin your courtier getting plus buy, and you can choose the other things instead. And B, I think Ranger can be good for reliability. If you start the turn with your token face down, you have 2 Rangers. Then you find 1 Ranger, it draws you 5 cards and kicks the turn off. And then use the other Ranger to set the token back face down, so the next Ranger draws again the following turn, is a nice way to add reliability. If you find either of those Rangers, you're going to have a really good turn. So as far as what they actually did, Poetje opens Courtier Squire. I mean, Squire is fine. You can take a Squire. It's better than nothing. But Courtier just seems so much worse than Recruiter. You're going to want Courtier. You're definitely going to want Courtier for sure. But Courtier is your payload card. It's going to add your golds and coins and whatnot after you've got your deck then. You can't start with that before you've got a clean deck. Or your deck's just never going to get clean. You're going to add like golds and stuff, and then your deck's going to get thicker and thicker. I don't think there's any conceivable opening that comes close to opening with Recruiter. I mean, I guess theoretically the other opening you could do is just open Overlord with the intent to play it as a Recruiter. But there's no other card here that you conceivably want. I mean, maybe their idea would be like you use the Courtier and you take the +3 coins to get off a big cemetery trash, but that just seems worse and slower to me. Juke opens with Squire Ranger. Meh. I don't like opening with Ranger. Like, it's a card you want eventually, but the problem is you want cards that get your deck rolling immediately. And that first time you see Ranger, it's worse than nothing for you, because all it does is, like, it gives you a plus buy that you don't have enough money yet to use, and then it just flips the token face down. And then 2 shuffles in, Ranger will draw you like 5 cards, and that's maybe good. But in the short term, it's slowing you down a bunch. It's an open. And so I don't think I'd be opening Ranger here. Poetje does get Recruiters on turn 3 and turn 4, though, which I like. Oh, that's cute. They're in a chat together. Wonder if they're talking about the game. And then Juke gets an Overlord. I like that as long as they intend to play it as a Recruiter. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense at all. I mean, I guess it doesn't make, like, literally... Yeah, no, there's just a bad play. It's a really bad play. So you buy a Cemetery. Buying Cemetery can be good. It can be a really good way to trash. If you have, like, a big turn early, you buy 1 Cemetery and you trash, like, 4 cards. You functionally trash 3 cards, because Cemetery itself is a junk card in your deck. But trashing 3 cards can be really good. The problem, of course, is... Here they trashed 1 card, so they trashed an estate, and they replaced it with a Cemetery, which is just as much a junk card. So this doesn't actually get your deck any thinner. There is some technical non-zero value in this, which is that if you have a Cemetery instead of an estate, when you eventually trash that to your Recruiter, you'll get 4 villagers instead of 2. So I guess this is kind of like a delayed buy 2 villagers, but buying 2 villagers seems pretty bad compared to like buying a Ranger or something. So given that this doesn't actually thin your deck, I wouldn't be buying a Cemetery here. There are certain areas where you might want to buy a Cemetery, but this isn't one of them. Poetje gets a Ghost. That seems good to me. Ghost is real strong. They trashed their Haunted Mirror, discarded the Courtier, and then this will let you play an action card twice. Love to line that up with the Recruiter. Ranger and Squire. I mean, Ranger's good. I'm not sure how many Squires you want. Like, it is plus action, but Recruiter is just a really efficient source of plus action. Taking Squire is definitely better than taking nothing, because with Way of the Chameleon around, you could just play it as like a standard village. Like, you play it as Chameleon, and then it's functionally like +1 card, +2 actions, and so it never hurts. But at the same time, if you bought Ranger plus Squire, you passed up on like buying a Hunting Grounds or something. So I'm not sure. This is fine. I think this is fine. I think I would have contemplated getting Hunting Grounds instead, but like there's nothing really wrong with that. The problem with Squire is mostly just the opportunity cost to be able to buy something better. You'd pick it up on 2. All right, so I think we're about caught up now. I should focus on the turns themselves more. Yes, I think you want to be playing Squire as Chameleon most of the time. In general, I would say that plus card is just a lot more valuable than the other resources like plus buy, plus coin, plus action. And so most of the time, Way of the Chameleon is a buff to cards that give plus coin. Like, you would rather the Squire be +1 card than +2 whatever. Because if you think about it, drawing 1 card puts 1 more card from your deck into your hand, and hopefully the average card in your deck is worth more than 1 coin. E.g., even if your deck was just all coppers, drawing 1 card would be equivalent to 1 coin, because you draw the copper and be able to play it. So if your deck is like anything better than on average a copper, then plus card is going to have more value for you. And so I think most of the time, if you see Way of the Chameleon around, the synergies you're looking for are things that give you plus coin, like Courtier or Squire. You're less often looking to use like Hunting Grounds with Way of the Chameleon. Now, that having been said, one interaction that I think we haven't talked about yet is there is Bandit Fort around, which makes you not particularly want golds and silvers. I mean, you probably pick up some golds from Courtier at the very least to feed to Recruiter, you know, and you might use some of them for payload, but you might be looking to trash them again towards the end. A good alternative payload here, though, could be if you just buy some extra Hunting Grounds or Rangers, and then after having drawn your deck, you play the extra ones as Way of the Chameleon, and then the Hunting Grounds is like plus 4 coins. And that's nice here because it circumvents Bandit Fort. You get coins that haven't add golds or silvers to your deck. I think I would still probably end up having a number of golds in the deck, just because getting them off of Courtier is going to be really easy. And you'll have a few Courtiers here for payload, presumably. But rather than having a deck full of tons of golds, you could just have a deck that's full of Hunting Grounds, Rangers, and whatnot, and Courtiers, and use those all for the payload. And then maybe you just have like an extra gold here or there that you perhaps plan to trash in the end. I would certainly never buy a gold in this kingdom. This is one of those kingdoms where anyone buying gold is making an egregious mistake. Okay, so Poetje plays Squire normally. Definitely a mistake. You have not drawn your deck. In fact, you've drawn very little of your deck. You would definitely rather play that as Way of the Chameleon so you can draw an extra card. I would buy a Ranger here. They just bought a Squire. Okay. If you're not drawing your deck, step one is to make sure you're drawing your deck. Juke looks like they're going to be in a better position to do that this turn. Oh no, they did the same thing. Again, plus 1 coin is just a lot less valuable than plus 1 card. I would be playing those Squires as Chameleon the large majority of the time. If you draw to the end of your deck and you're like, oh, I've got Spear Draw left over, then spend those cards as coin after you've drawn your deck. But step one is make sure you've got all your cards in your hand. So they trashed a Pillage. Seems pretty clear that you discard the Recruiter. It's the only draw card. I'm actually very, very unclear as to why they did that when they did. Just a little bit of note about play order. In general, the first thing you want to do on your turn is to draw through all your cards. Because, like, say you've got some number of other cards, Courtiers, Pillages, whatever. All the stuff that doesn't draw you stuff, but does stuff for you. Like, you choose what to gain off of Courtier. It's better to draw your cards first, because then you have more information about like what your hand is ultimately going to look like. Then you can decide, like, oh, maybe I've run out of actions, and I have to choose between my Courtier and my Pillage. Maybe for whatever reason I'd rather play the Courtier this turn, or I'd rather play the Pillage or something like that. Whereas if you do those things first, and then you draw the cards, well, you're now already locked into having played your Pillage rather than your Courtier. And so I would do the things that give me information before doing the things that require information. E.g., drawing my cards lets me know what I'm going to eventually draw, whereas Courtier I have to make what should be an informed choice of which things I need to take, which I can't do if I haven't drawn the cards yet. So there's almost never reason to like play your payload cards before drawing. It also has this problem where you might draw cards dead, right? Like if I have 2 actions and I play the Smithy first, then I might find another village and I can play that village and play the Smithy and keep playing. Whereas if I play like a Courtier or a Pillage first and then draw with my Smithy, well, I'm out of actions now, so whatever I draw with the Smithy, I probably can't play. And so playing Pillage before the Ranger just seems like a very strange order. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. Yeah, that just seems weird. So, again, I don't understand why they don't like drawing cards. Like, you have cards in your deck that presumably you want to play. You need to draw them to play them. They could be playing Courtier as the Chameleon, so they could be drawing here. I mean, this would be like a double Smithy. If you play the courtier twice with your ghost, you could be drawing 6 cards. That's like half your remaining deck. I don't understand why they're so opposed to drawing cards here. So you play the Squire as a chameleon. Good, good. I like that. Then you play the Ranger. And now, I would probably be looking to buy a cemetery here. If I see that hand, I'm like, oh lord, I'm so under-trashed. Let me fix this pronto. I would play the silver, the mirror, and the 2 spoils. Buy a cemetery to trash the 3 coppers in the estate. And then you would have 6 money left over, you buy hunting grounds. They are going to not do that. They're just, oh no, don't buy province, no, oh goodness, greed, no, goodness gracious. Your deck is not under control. You just failed to draw, you just saw a handful of tons and tons of junk cards. The very last thing I would want to be doing is adding more junk cards like a province to my deck. That would have been like the perfect turn to start getting their deck under control. They could have trashed 3 cards with Cemetery. Well, 4 total, but 3 on net because you're adding the Cemetery. You could have bought another draw card. Your deck would be a lot cleaner and a lot stronger at the end of that turn. Instead, they added a Province, which is a junk card, and a Pillage, which does nothing to help the situation. Because Pillage doesn't give you draw, it doesn't trash you cards. It's just an extra payload card. Yeah, very not a fan of this buy. I think this is a huge mistake. So now, again, Poetje should be looking to draw their deck here. So I'd be playing all of these chameleons. Draw is just so much more valuable than coins, and they keep taking the coins, and I think it's going to hurt them. This is an interesting order. They play 1 Squire for card, 1 Squire for coin, 1 Squire for card, 1 Squire for coin. You think they would either think that coins or cards are better and just consistently do one or the other. But they've got this nice little alternating pattern for reasons that I could not explain. They also failed to play either Courtier's Chameleon, which I think is, again, a huge mistake. Like, look at all these cards in your deck. Surely the average card in your deck is better than a copper. So why would you take 3 coppers, essentially, when you could be taking 3 cards from your deck that are better than that? They're, I think, very much underutilizing draw in general and Chameleon in particular. These decks should just not have any junk in them around here. I think you would long since be trashed if you played Recruiter frequently, bought a Cemetery or 2. Play the Courtier's Chameleon, so you can draw one. What? This play order doesn't make any sense. So let's say you decided, for whatever reason, you're like, I want to play this Overlord as a Courtier. Like, that's my goal. Courtier cares about the number of types your card has. So, for example, you would love to reveal, where's Mirror? Haunted Mirror. It's a 2-type card. It's a treasure and an heirloom type. Or you'd love to reveal Pillage, because it's an action and attack, or Bandit, or Overlord, or whatever. At the point they did this, they had, where is this? Here you go. Have a look here. They had no 2-type cards in their hand. So they have to reveal a 1-type card, Ranger, which means they only get 1 of these benefits. If they play the Ranger first, this goes back to the thing I was saying earlier, you draw 5 new cards, and then there's a chance you draw your Pillage, or Mirror, or Ghost, or whatever. Ghost would be an ideal target if you have the Ghost in your deck, which they don't yet. Because it's a 3-type card and you can get 3 benefits. But there's no reason, like, if maybe the Ranger were a 2-type card and you're like, I have very few 2-type cards left in my deck, then you might have an argument for play the Overlord as Courtier first, reveal the 2-type card before I play it, and it leaves my hand. But I don't understand why you'd ever decide to play the Courtier first when you know for sure you don't have any 2-type cards to reveal, and you're about to draw 5 new cards, which could be a better target for the Courtier. And even beyond that, like, it's not even a given that you want to play the Overlord as a Courtier. You have a lot of flexibility. You can play it as a Bandit or, well, not a Pillage. You don't get the benefit of Pillage by playing Overlord this way because it says if you did, and Overlord wouldn't trash a Pillage. It would just play a Pillage. You can play it as Bandit. You can play it as Ranger. You can play it as Recruiter. And you might change your opinion on that. Like, if you draw 5 cards and you're like, oh no, I didn't draw any of my draw cards. Maybe I should play this Overlord as a Ranger or a Recruiter after all to continue drawing on. Or maybe I should play the Overlord as a courtier, but I should do Way of Chameleon style instead, so I draw that way. But the idea that they have of playing their payload cards before their draw cards, I think, is just sort of a fundamental error in the way they're playing out these turns. Come on, Poetje. You gotta play these as chameleons. There's 7 cards left here. You could be drawing basically all of those. Actually, probably all of those, because there's some more draw left in there. They could draw to the end of their deck if they just played these courtiers as chameleons instead of normally. It seems pretty clear that you would choose buy coins gold because you don't need the actions. You've already got 3 actions and not more than 3 action cards left. Alright, yeah, they choose buy coins gold. Again, please play it as chameleon. You want to draw. You really want to draw on. Ay, ay, ay. Nope, they're just not going to. And in my province now. Still feels a bit early for them. Like there's barely any draw cards bought. I mean, I guess chameleon, not chameleon. A courtier with chameleon does count as draw, but boy, these decks could be a whole lot bigger. Like, you know, building a triple province here is well within the range of plausibility. But not the way they're playing it at the moment. Okay. So I'm going to say Poetje looks to be solidly in the lead just because, I mean, Juke's deck does nothing. They green too early. They now have a hand full of absolute junk because, okay, what you discard here? It doesn't really matter what you discard. That was a weird choice, though, to discard the Squire. I mean, I guess they're denying the only action card. There's some sensibility to that, but it's not going to make a difference. They have plenty of actions regardless from the ghost. Yeah, I mean, Juke just green is too early, and I think it's going to be one of the big things that cost them this game. Like, Poetje's deck, at least theoretically, does a lot of things. Poetje has this problem where they have a bunch of good cards in their deck, and they decide not to draw any of the cards. But theoretically, if they were to want to draw their cards and play them, then they would be in a very good position. Again, why play the... Don't do the things that you want information to... Oh no, Poetje, no. Oof. So there's a lot of areas here to talk about. First things first. Courtier does nothing if you have no cards in hand. You have to reveal a card, and you get benefit based on the type. If you reveal no cards, then there were no types, and you get none of the benefits. So this last courtier play was just entirely wasted. Secondly, they could have drawn. I think neither of them, seems to have realized that you can use Way of the Chameleon to make courtier a draw card. You'd be able to draw like a smithy. And so those courtiers playing them as draw seems, abundantly better than whatever it is they were trying to do there. And then lastly, going back to the thing I keep saying is you want to do the things that give you information before the things that take information. So, like, that was a non-drawing ranger. Their token was face up at the time. And so playing that ranger wasn't going to draw them cards. It was just going to flip the token over. It would have been much better if they drew first with the courtier to then, for example, evaluate whether they would have enough actions to do that in the first place. They're a little bit low on villagers. What if they didn't draw a squire or something, and they need to, use the second courtier for draw or something before playing the ranger? There's just no reason to ever get in the habit of play the cards that are things I can play at the end of the turn at the beginning of your turn. Play the cards that you need to play early, like the draw cards, and then decide what other cards you want to play. Yeah. It's actually just tragic to me how severely Poetje is underutilizing Way of the Chameleon. Their deck could be doing like 1,000. Like, they have the right deck composition, and they're just misplaying it. Whereas, Juke's deck is kind of terminally shot by lack of having bought any good cards. Poetje's deck could be doing a lot if they drew all the cards in their deck, but they just keep deciding to not draw any cards. And they do use Chameleon occasionally. It's not like they don't understand the card or didn't notice that it's there. They use it every once in a while, But then like 9 times out of 10, they're like, nah, I don't want cards. I'd rather have a hand that has no cards in it and does nothing. Yeah, main lesson in this game: A, Recruiter is good. Don't skimp out on Recruiter in the opening. B, drawing your cards. Drawing cards is good. If you have the option to draw cards, you should do that. And then C, care about the order you play your cards in. Draw cards first, and then do things that you might want to do after that. But these folks, I think, have just decided, draw cards, never. I'm just going to buy things. Overlord? Seems like a weird time for an Overlord. I mean, if you're juke, you're like, there's 2 provinces left, I'm real behind in points, I should probably be scoring here. Like, supposing Poetje doesn't even hit province here, they could just buy a duchy. And now not even double province wins for juke. Because, you know, it wouldn't be, they would have to trash a gold. They could buy a duchy and trash a gold, and then not even double province would win for juke. Why are they trashing the Recruiter? You need to keep drawing. But yeah, like, it typically is the case that what the progression of the game should look like is there's some period where you're building up your deck, and then you're like, all right, I've got a complete deck. It does what I want it to do. Now I'm going to start scoring points with that deck. And so you buy the cards that improve your deck, and then you buy the green cards. And it's a sign that you've made a pretty fatal error if you buy the green cards first and then start building. Because, like, imagine I was going to buy, I don't know, a hunting grounds and a province either way. If I buy the hunting grounds early and the province late, the hunting grounds is paying dividends that entire time I have it in my deck. So that entire middle game I've got 1 extra draw card. Whereas if I buy the province early and the hunting grounds late, I've just got a province junking up my deck the whole time, and the hunting grounds barely does anything because I added it at the end. So like if you're juke and you're like, my deck really needs an Overlord turn 14 or whenever they bought it, that should be a sign that like maybe I shouldn't have bought provinces so early when there was still more building to be done. And so this whole like, I have fizzled out, my deck's not doing anything, there's provinces left and I can't buy them anymore, should be a sign that you probably greened too early and maybe make you rethink buying provinces so quickly in future games. Alright, play both of these as Chameleon, please. Oh, nope. Wait, now they don't even hit 8 now, do they? Is it just 7? If you drew on, there's like a very high chance you hit 8. Again, they're willing to draw with their Squire. They acknowledge that Squire can be played with the Way of the Chameleon, but for whatever reason, the concept of playing Courtier as Way of the Chameleon, I think, just never clicked in their head. Like, that's a thing they could do. And they've missed out on drawing so many times as a result of it. I mean, they're still going to win. They'll buy Duchy or something. Oh, never mind. They'll buy a Courtier here. Any buy here is going to be safe. Like, there's no way Juke scores this many points, I don't think, with the state their deck is in. But I'm not sure why they thought another Courtier there was necessary. Like, you're not even going to draw that Courtier before the end of the game. Just take the points. Yeah, Poetry's got it in hand here. Well, let's see. Maybe there's some way that Juke can do this. I would be looking to, how do you trash cards here? Play Overlord as a Recruiter. Trash Hunting Grounds for Duchy. That's 3 points. Play Overlord as Recruiter. Trash Silver. That's 2 points from removing the Bandit Camp effect. That's 5. And man, they're really just not getting there. The problem is their deck just has nothing in it. They greened way too early. And now their deck's just all junk. They didn't bother trashing their coppers. They didn't bother adding draw and payload. And so even with a real nice turn here, there's nothing to build towards. Okay, they trash the silver. I like that. I do the same thing with the hunting grounds. Get yourself a free... Nope, they're going to play the hunting grounds. If you trash the hunting grounds, you get a free duchy, which seems more valuable than drawing 4 cards for you, given that the average quality of the cards in Juke's deck is not particularly high. Not sure why they're taking plus action here. I guess I'm not sure what else you'd take. Plus action, I guess, is fair. You don't want the gold at this point. Oh my goodness, did they actually make enough money to do this? Wow. Yeah, I bet Poetje's feeling real silly now buying that courtier. They just threw the game. Juke just barely made it after all. Yeah, there's no reason to buy a courtier there. They were never going to draw back to it, and Adachi would have given them enough of a leeway that Poetje could not have outscored that, or that Juke could not have outscored that. But man, was Juke's deck running on fumes. Yeah, just to reiterate the takeaways from this game, don't buy provinces so early. Trash your cards. Your deck should not have 6 coppers in it this late into the game. Oh my goodness. That's all 6 of their coppers. They literally did not trash a single copper the entire game. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, let's look at this kingdom. This is incredibly strong. This should be over in like 8 turns. So we got Donate, which is the strongest thing in the game. If we're including events, Donate is just like the single best thing you can ever buy. You trash all of your cards all at once. It just so rapidly affects the game that nothing comes close. There's also a number of things here that go well with Donate. Like Fool's Gold, for example. Fool's Gold Donate's a really good opening. You like buy 3 Fool's Golds, you donate, and down to 3 Fool's Golds and nothing else. And then you got 9 coins from those 3 Fool's Golds, for example, is really good. So like that's a possible opening you could consider. It's just like triple Fool's Gold Donate. You've also got a real strong engine here. Bridge Troll's a phenomenal payload. It's like a bridge, but it's a lot easier to get in play than bridge because you only have to play it every other turn to get the effect. So whereas bridge, like to get 8 bridges in play, you need like 8 extra draw, 8 extra action to play all those bridges. To get 8 bridge trolls in play, you just need 4 extra draw, 4 extra action because you can play 4 bridge trolls one turn, 4 more the other turn. So it's a very flexible bridge. And you got plus buy with market as well. So like, and I guess technically trade route. You could easily build a big bridge troll deck very fast. They just play some bridge trolls in markets. So how do we get there? Well, on 4-3 or 3-4, I think I'm just doing the Fool's Gold opening because it's the thing that gets my deck running the fastest, so donate around. Do either of them have 5-2? They do not. Yeah, just triple Fool's Gold and then donate. Here seems definitely best. On 5-2, I might consider like Bridge Troll Fool's Gold with the idea of wait until I've played my Bridge Troll and then donate then, because I could pick up a Fool's Gold and also buy donate, and then I'm kind of like 1 turn ahead and I've got a Bridge Troll. Oh no, Poetje, what are you doing? What are you doing, Poetje? No, don't buy that. Oh lord, they bought a Menagerie. Okay, so Menagerie is a phenomenal card. Like if you look at the ratings, you'll see it. It's very highly rated. In fact, I think there's a situation here where you would likely want a lot of Menageries eventually in this kingdom, because if you can activate its effect, it's like a double laboratory for 3 coins, which is phenomenal. You know, 2 laboratories normally cost you $10 and 2 buys. So that's a steal. The problem is it's hard to activate, especially at the start of the game, because you've got 7 coppers and 2 estates. So there's literally no conceivable way that your hand could have only unique cards such that Menagerie does anything for you. The second problem with opening Menagerie in this kingdom in particular is you're going to donate down to less than 5 cards. And then there's no value to the draw in the first place. And so, yeah, Menagerie is basically just like forfeiting a turn. Juke has done the right thing, which is buy some Fool's Golds and donate. I like Juke's opening. I'm a fan of that. Poetje is basically playing this a full turn behind, which with donate around is incredibly significant. Uh-oh. Is Poetje not going to buy donate? Poetje, you need to donate. Jack Crispy King's asking, what would you use for draw here? I'm not sure, honestly. It might just depend on what my deck is looking like at a particular time. Fool's Gold alone, honestly, would get you to provinces pretty fast. If you had like 1 or 2 plus buy cards like Market and you just like bought some Fool's Golds and went straight for provinces, that would not be a bad deck. I think the Bridge Troll thing is strong enough to build here. But as far as how you draw, given that I think my ideal opening involves having a bunch of Fool's Golds, I'm not really looking to have Menagerie as my main draw. But like if let's say I've played 3 Bridge Trolls or something and I get extra buys and Menagerie costs 0, I mean, I wouldn't be unhappy to add them. I think, Destry and or Apprentice with Fortress could be great draw. You'll need the Fortresses anyway to play multiple Bridge Trolls. Well, actually, no. Then again, Apprentice is not going to play well with Bridge Troll. Like, Apprentice and Bridge is fine because you play the Bridges at the end of the turn. But with Bridge Trolls around, if you have like a bunch of Bridge Trolls in play, then your Apprentice on Fortress is actually not going to draw you cards. Like, if you had 3 Bridges, then Apprentice would be a cantrip. So yeah, maybe Destrier and then a few Menageries. You don't need a whole lot of draw. Like, you only need to draw, like, you're going to have a very thin deck with almost no stop cards in it, except for, like, a few Fool's Golds. And then you need, like, 3 or 4 Bridges per turn. So you only need, like, very minimal draw to see all the cards that you want to see. Like, if you had 3 Destriers or something, that would be enough to see 8 stop cards per turn. And if you had, like, 3 Fool's Golds and 4 Bridge Trolls, that's only 7. So yeah, I think a little draw is probably enough here. I just want to be getting a lot of Bridge Trolls real fast. They decide they want Market. I think there's a lot of people who are like newish to the game and have played the base set a bunch and just think that Market is like the best card that you need a million of. And I mean, I kind of get why, because like it's just like a free coin, a free buy at no cost, and so it's like, oh, easy, no risk thing. Do they have a win here? No, they're 1 buy short. Yeah, I'm not seeing a way to win. They're very close to piling out of states, but they need 1 more buy. The problem with Market, I think, is just, like, it reliably adds a little bit to your deck. It gives you a buy and a coin. But for $5, that means you're passing up on usually stronger things, such that Market itself is only kind of like a mid-tier card. In this kingdom, that's Bridge Troll. Bridge Troll has that sort of geometric cost reduction effect, where you get a bunch of them in play and everything costs 0. And so I could see adding a few Markets here as supplement to that deck, but the main thing I want here is a bunch of Bridge Trolls. I don't think they're playing that deck, though. The Market Fool's Gold thing is, like, it's not a bad idea. I think they're playing a reasonably strong deck. And it's probably enough to win here, because Poetje did, like, pass a turn. Turn 1. I will say this is overall, I think, a lot better play from Juke this game than Game 1. Game 1, Juke, I think, was demonstrating, well, not a whole lot of grasp of opening principles. They didn't build a deck and then kind of had a combination of their opponent blundering and then them having an excellent draw on the very final turn to happen to get the win out. This turn, I think, they more or less played a pretty strong strategy. The Fool's Gold Market thing, I think, is certainly good enough. Like, the scary thing about the Bridge Troll deck is it could easily take like 8 duchies. So like, even if you put down like 5 or 6 provinces early on because you played Fool's Gold directly and just got to province quicker, I think the Bridge Troll plus a few markets could empty like the last 2 or 3 provinces, like all the duchies and a few estates, and it would still win. But if Bridge Troll weren't around, I would be doing the Fool's Gold thing. All right. 2-0 for Juke. This one feels more deserved. The first one, I think, Poetje had the right deck composition and was just really underplaying their deck. All right, what have we here? This is interesting. So you got Shepherd, and you got some extra green around with Cemetery. You got Flag Bearer plus Way of the Butterfly is an interesting interaction. You don't have Trashing, though. So it looks like... Oh, no, you do have Trashing with Cemetery, but it's limited. There's only 4 cemeteries around. So how do you play this? I'm not sure. The first thing I would think about in the opening is whether I want to trash the estates. And the answer here is maybe. Probably. I actually, I don't know. On the one hand, it's easy to trash a bunch real fast. You take a workshop in the opening, and you could workshop a cemetery, and that's functional like chapel. Like workshop and cemetery. You think about the workshop like a chapel. Well, asterisk. You trash 4 cards when you do that. The downside is it puts in a cemetery in your deck, so it's not quite as strong as chapel, but it's like up there. And so you could easily get super thin super fast if you just open like, I don't know, double workshop or something even. Or workshop shepherd, workshop poacher, I don't know. Something like that. That would definitely be on my radar. On the other hand, I do think shepherd's a good card in this kingdom. Shepherd works really well when you have cards that show you more of your deck at the start of your turn to line up like the very initial shepherd draw that kicks things off. And there's Ghost Town around, which will give you like a slightly larger starting hand, and there's Flag around, which when you have it will do the same. And so you could be reasonably likely to draw well with Shepherd if you didn't trash your estates. So I'm kind of on the fence as to whether you trash estates here or you use them as the discard for Shepherd draw. I think I would play towards getting very thin and playing a bunch of familiars. Like if you open Workshop and you take a few cemeteries, and then you get a potion, you get some familiars, and you put enough curses in the deck, you could easily just take like enough of the cemeteries that they might not even have enough to get thin if they wanted to later on. Because you're limited to 8 total cemeteries, and then trashing's gone forever. So I think my preferred opening here would be something like Workshop Poacher, maybe Workshop Shepherd. Workshop Shepherd sounds good, I think. That's my final answer. Other things that I mentioned earlier, but haven't come back to. Flagbearer is a lot nicer with Way of the Butterfly around, because you don't buy Flagbearer to have Flagbearer. You buy Flagbearer to have bought Flagbearer. You know, you don't want this card. This card is terrible. It's terminal silver. It's just silver but worse and more expensive. The benefit is you get the flag, which is like a free draw every single turn, which is incredibly valuable. And so Flagbearer with Way of the Butterfly is nice because it can get itself right back out of your deck after you've gotten it. You just return it to the supply and get a 5-cost card off of that. And so that looks really nice. As Juke here, I would definitely be workshopping for Cemetery to trash all that. Probably the one card I'd leave around would be the Flagbearer. You could consider leaving the estate, I guess, if you want to draw a Shepherd, but they don't have a Shepherd yet. Oh, nope, they're just going to send the Flagbearer back and not trash anything. That's weird. Game 2, they seem to be the one that had the better grasp on trashing. Like, they bought Donate early and played accordingly. Games 1 and 3, they seem to be suggesting that they severely undervalue trashing, though. Game 1, they did not bother trashing coppers. And it really ought to have cost them the game. This game, they're also not trashing. As Juke, I guess you buy Flagbearer back now. As Poetje, could consider Potion here. I think I would take a Potion here. Yeah, they take Potion. Sad hand for Poetje. They look at all of their green cards and none of their single Shepherd. They don't see their Shepherd. Okay, so now Juke's trashing. We're getting somewhere. Silver. Juke's taking a potion. I don't like the silver. You don't need silver. As Poetje, I would return the Flagbearer. Probably take a city, I guess, is better than villain. You know what? Maybe you could do with a villain, but city is eventually going to be good once curses run out. So I think I'd probably just take the city. No, you don't want to keep, again, like, if you play the Flagbearer and buy a 5, well, then you just got a 5. If you return the Flagbearer and buy a 5, you got a 5 and there's no more Flagbearer in your deck, which you don't want it to be in your deck. It also gives you the benefit of being able to buy a 3-cost card on top of that. Wait, they bought us. Oh, why would first off, why would you buy a silver? Silver's not good for your deck. Second, why would you buy silver over all the other cards that are just better? Like Poacher, for example, is like +1 coin and doesn't hinder your deck. Thirdly, if you wanted silver, why would you just buy one instead of two? You could get two with Delve. So, like, you'd have to judge that you wanted exactly one silver and nothing else. Otherwise, you're just passing up a thing that you did want. Um, but yeah, that silver buy was perplexing to me on a lot of levels. Also, if you're just going to buy the silver anyway, which only costs 3, why would you even play the flag bearer for coins? Because that gives you 5 money, and you didn't need 5 to buy a silver. You could have returned the flag bearer and gotten a better card. I have so many objections to that silver buy. Alright, I like gaining the flag. I like buying the familiar. Those both look good for juke. This is going to be better. Wait. They're just... Why did they only discard 1 estate? I guess they didn't want to trigger that shuffle. Maybe that was a good call. I'll have to go back and think about that. But if their goal is to buy a province, then no. This is nowhere near province time. All 10 curses are still left to be given. If you get behind on the curse split because you took the provinces, you're not even going to be ahead in points by the end of that. The province itself will have cost you more than 6 points for all the curses on top of all the junk that you got. Why does their deck need a squire? Do they need the plus buy? Maybe? Maybe they need the plus buy. It really should not be the case that only 1 cemetery has been taken this far into the game. I don't think you want more silvers. Please stop adding silvers. Just because you can does not mean you should. Your goal right now, I would assume, is to play the familiar bunch and give them all the curses. And filling your deck with treasures means you do that less often. Do you buy another flag bearer here as Poetje? I'm not sure. A second potion? Oh, no. Oh, goodness, no. So first off, potion is just a junk card in your deck, right? So, like, if getting a potion helps you, like, avoid 1 more curse, the potion's almost as bad as the curse anyway. Yeah, I like DZ's suggestion of... trash the flag bearer. That's a good idea. Secondly, a second potion is not even going to particularly help you. Like, the familiars run curses pretty fast. 1 potion, you get a few of them. That's going to be enough to run out the curses between you and your opponent. You're not going to have time to buy, like, tons more familiars and get tons of curses given out from that. If anything, the potion could actively hurt that goal because you might end up being more likely to draw, like, 2 potions and 2 coppers in hand and then get no familiars that shuffle. And then be really, really sad. Squire for plus buy. And what do you buy? Familiar. It's probably worth it. You're about to reshuffle. Yeah, I'd buy a familiar here. Cemetery. No, I don't like the cemetery. If they had a ranger in their deck, not a ranger, if they had a shepherd in their deck, I could see the value in turning a curse into a cemetery, because then you can discard it with shepherd. If you don't have a shepherd in your deck, maybe a more prudent buy would be to buy the shepherd on that $4 hand and then get the cemetery later when you can trash multiple cards. Because again, trashing 1 card with cemetery is not actually making your deck any thinner. You're replacing 1 junk card with another junk card. Cemetery is only good if you can get off like 2 or 3 at least. Ideally 4. Just trash all 3 of those. Everything but the ghost town and province. Eek. Okay. Okay, trashing Haunted Mirror, Copper. I guess you keep the Pasture. I'd probably trash the silver, honestly. But I mean, if they took the silver in the first place, they probably don't want to trash it. A deck that got clean fast. Do they have their estate still? That's a worthwhile question to ask. Juke has trashed all their estates, which does make it a bit more perplexing why they didn't trash their pasture as well. That makes it basically a copper. Maybe they plan on gaining more estates later? Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that one. Just like imagine if you open with a workshop, you trashed like 3 cards per turn for the next few turns with cemeteries, then you added a few familiars and you were cursing them 2 or 3 times a turn. The curses could be out by like turn 9 or 10. And these decks would not be capable of dealing with that. All these provinces clogging up the deck. Trash Potion and Cemetery. Why are they not trashing the cemetery? I guess they want the points. I don't want the points. I want the deck that does things. Okay, let's see if Poetje plays the familiars first. I sure hope they do. 2 shepherds. I think that's a good buy. They have a bunch of green in their deck. No! Poetje, no! Oh, look, they drew 2 cemeteries too! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, Proteus has an interesting hypothesis. That would explain a lot, wouldn't it? The text is very clear. Discard any number of victory cards, plus 2 cards per card. I think it's hard to read that any other way. But, yeah, maybe if they thought that you could... What are they trying to undo now? They're considering not drawing with their familiar? Why would you not want to draw with the familiar? Oh, they want to I don't think they realize how that butterfly works. Okay, so this is a mistake. Butterfly, you return a card to the pile, and you gain a card costing exactly 1 more than it. Familiar costs 3 plus potion. So a card costing exactly 1 more than familiar would be a card that costs 4 plus potion. The only card that fits that bill in the entire game is Golem, which costs 4 plus potion. You can't get a 4 cost card off of this. Like, I think they thought that returning familiar would let them get like a shepherd or a poacher or something, but those cards don't cost exactly 1 more because there's a potion cost in there. The card's cost is like both its cost in coins and its cost in potion and its cost in debt. Yeah, so that was a mistake. But anyways, going back to the mistake that Poetje made at the start. And again, I was saying this game 1, but you want to play the cards that give you information before the cards that take information. E.g., Shepherd, you want to know how many green cards you've got before you decide what to discard to it. So you draw with familiar first, and then maybe you draw an extra estate or an extra cemetery or province, and then now you can discard 3 cards to Shepherd instead of 1 and draw 6 cards instead of 2, and that'd be phenomenal. As it turns out, they got hurt by that in a big way. Their top 2 cards were both cemeteries. If they played both those familiars, they would have been able to discard all that for 6 cards. They basically passed up on drawing 4 cards for free, which is it's like 4 laboratories down the drain. Yeah, Micah is correct. It is exactly. That is how way the butterfly works. They bought gold. I don't like gold. Really, ever. If you wanted money, then something like, I don't know, even like triple delve would be better than gold. Yeah, cities are already laboratories. Yeah, honestly, a city buy would be pretty good there, right? You're buying a lab that's pretty soon going to be like a lab plus a market. Or I guess Lost City is a better analogy. Who has the cities? Let's find out. Gains, city. Juke has 2 to Poetje has 1. If one of them had all 3, I guess I'd be strongly looking to lower the cemetery pile so as to power up my cities. If you're only up by 1 city, I guess it's less of a concern. I think I would be looking to buy the final cemetery here and trash a curse and a copper. Or just pass up on trashing a free copper for no clear reason. We could do that too. It's really just, personal preference sort of thing. Some people like junk in their deck. Some people like winning. I'm not going to judge. Alright, Poetje. I mean, Poetje is pretty behind on points. I think 2 cities here is really enticing, but maybe you do just take Province Estate and say it's too late in the game to try to build anything. I think Province Estate is probably what I would take by now. Their decks are pretty thick to the point that you're not going to try to really realistically draw. I guess you could consider Duchy Flagbearer as well. Flagbearer is pretty significant around this point. I would have taken the estate there. It's worth 2 points with pasture around. This scenario where you have a bunch of curses left in deck and cemeteries have run out, I think is a very plausible one. Because if both of you are trying to trash exclusively using the 8 cemeteries, you're getting, on average, 4 cemetery per person. And that's not enough to trash 10 junk cards plus 5 curses. Because each cemetery net trashes 3 cards. And especially if I could, do my trashing and then, deny a cemetery or 2, the opponent's going to get stuck with a bunch of curses. Take an estate. Alright, they took an estate. Ugh, tired. A good time to have a shepherd ghosted. This would be a real good turn. Can Juke pile out here? What's the lowest pile? Shepherds doesn't look like it. They could. I think as Juke I probably would workshop for estate, play Squire for buy, and just buy 3 estates. Then estates are at 3 and you have a huge points lead. And then you can run down that pile real fast. 3 estates is worth as much as a province anyway. I don't dislike the choice to gain a shepherd in a province, though. That's fine. Looks like Juke's going to win a provinces. Yeah, at this point, Poetje should be clicking the resign button. There's just no earthly way they're going to come back from that points deficit. Very nice draw from Juke here. I think they line up their shepherd with a whole lot of green. Having the flag for a while has probably helped with that. Yeah, that also helps. Alright, that's the game. Alright, I believe that's now 3-0 for Juke. Going into game 4. Oh, fun. Lurker Hunting Grounds. This is going to be like an 8-turn game. Well, this ought to be an 8-turn game. We'll see if they see it. So the way Lurker Hunting Grounds works is if you trash a hunting grounds, you get either duchy or 3 estates. The catch is it doesn't actually say your hunting grounds. So you can use a lurker and just buy lurkers for 2 each, which you can pretty much always afford, and then just trash hunting grounds straight from the supply. And then you empty all the hunting grounds, you empty all the duchies, you empty all the estates, and then you win. And the game's over in like 8 turns, and you've got like 20-ish points, however many. And yeah, that's just way faster than pretty much anything else. Especially given this kingdom's a weak kingdom. I wonder if, like, does it make any sense to take a hermit and, like, use hermit for lurkers? Probably not. I think I would just open double lurker. It's like, buy a lurker every turn, trash hunting grounds every time you find your lurker, never gain them back from the trash, never do anything else. There's nothing here I think that particularly even aids that monolithic strategy. Alright, but let's just operate an assumption for a second. They don't know the lurker hunting grounds interaction, and they try to do something else. What do you do here? You could try for like a hermit bridge mega turn where you like save the madmen that you get off of hermit to play a bunch of bridges at once, but that's probably not worth it. I think if you don't play the to answer Proteus' question, I think it's not fast enough. Right, like the lurker hunting grounds thing is just really, really fast. Like there's only, like, imagine you both do it, right? That means you're on average only get 5 hunting grounds. And so if you buy 2 lurkers and you play 2 lurkers, you're already 40% of the way there immediately after the first shuffle. Whereas you take the hermit, you're passing up on a lurker trash, then you add a lurker to your deck, then the hermit's only like net even increasing the number of lurkers over directly buying lurkers after you're going into your 4th shuffle. Because you spent 1 shuffle buying the hermit, then you were down a lurker for a shuffle, and you catch back up because you gained a lurker. You'll have to have played that hermit twice to get 2 lurkers for it to even been better than just having 1 lurker in your deck to begin with. And by that point, the game is basically over. Alright, so we've confirmed that Juke does not know the lurker hunting grounds combo. We will shortly see whether Poetje knows what it is. The answer to Quimeridian's question is B player 1. I'm pretty sure the lurker hunting grounds thing has like 75% or some absurdly high first player win rate. Because it's just so quick and so luck dependent that like 1 extra turn is huge. Okay, yep, so both of them don't see it. What's the next best thing? I guess if you don't see lurker hunting grounds, I'm probably playing like Horde big money. You could get really thin with raises and play like a stack of markets and a bridge as your terminal at the end. That could be pretty good too. You could just get a little bit thin with raise, play with like a horde, and then just green very quickly. Either of those seems like alright. Yeah, I mean, Lurker Hunting Grounds is really a bit of a boring combo. I don't enjoy when it shows up. Well, I enjoy when it shows up because, like, honestly, people are terrible at noticing it, and then you just win. But if both people do it, you're basically flipping a coin to determine the winner, but with the coin weighted towards first player pretty heavily. They... Why is a counting house in this deck? Why did you... Oh, no. Oh, no. Jay. Okay, so... Counting house is a a truly, truly abysmal card. It's so bad, so incredibly bad. You don't even take Counting House for free if someone offers it. You politely turn them down. Um, it's terminal, and it just takes all the coppers that are in your trash and puts them in your hand, which, if you've got raises, is not going to be a whole lot of coppers because you're going to be trashing your coppers. But it also has this problem of, like, you can't use it in an engine because you'll draw through your deck, and then the coppers won't be in your discard. And so there's nothing for it to find. And you also have this problem where even if you don't have an engine, you might have the bad luck of drawing at the top of the shuffle where there's no discard yet and nothing for it to find. And yeah, it's, in the best of cases, it doesn't even have like plus buy to go with it. So like, what are you doing with all the coppers? Buying one thing? Counting House is an atrocious card. One of the worst in the game. It does have these like weird random combos, like with Traveling Fair or Night Watchman around. There's some bizarre Counting House combos that are worth knowing about, but suffice to say, those don't exist in this kingdom. Yeah, what could possess you to buy Counting House? They even already had raises, like multiple raises. Oh no, they only had one raise, but they should have had multiple raises. No, they had no raises. Oh goodness. Okay, yeah, why don't they have any raises? Okay, perhaps I made the mistake of assuming they actually put on trash in their cards. Yeah, why would you do that? Yeah, I have no idea what the hell Juke's deck is. I'm very confused. I'm very, very, very confused by Juke's deck. Oh look, that Counting House is a terminal silver. It's honestly more than I expected to do. I like that Poetje got raises. Raises is a really good trasher. They're now getting a lurker. Maybe this is delayed lurker hunting grounds. Yeah, maybe they will stumble across the lurker hunting grounds combo. That is a possibility. Oh no! I saw someone else do this same thing in I think it was like an I-League match the other day, where they have two raises in their hand, and they play the raise and they trash the raise that's in their hand instead of the raise that's in play. And so for clarification, Poetje had two raises. When you play the raise, you can trash a card to draw on, and you get to pick up cards. Or you can trash the raise itself. So if I play a raise, I could either trash the raise that's in my hand to see two cards and put one in my hand, or I could trash the raise that's already in play to do the same thing. Either way, I've trashed a raise and I've drawn a card. The difference is one of them just pointlessly takes a raise out of your hand for no reason. Yeah, there's no reason to do that. Yeah, it's real cute. They have like a voice chat with each other. A very friendly match we have here. I wonder what they're chatting about. Maybe they did both notice the Lurker Hunting Grounds combo, and they came to like a mutual truce of like, let's have like a nice game that doesn't involve degenerate 3-pile rush. I want to believe it was a deliberate choice on their parts. Let's see how many cards have been trashed. Juke has trashed a single estate, and that is all. P has trashed a copper, 2 coppers. 2 estate, 2 coppers, 3 coppers. They trashed them. Oh, never mind. They trashed the market from the supply. I was confused with why I was reading that. 4. Okay, P is getting thin. I like this. I like the way P's deck is going better, but both because they have. Well, I was gonna say they have fewer junk cards and fewer counting houses, but that's kind of redundant. They have fewer junk cards, where junk here is inclusive of the card counting house. Man, Juke's deck just has so many unnecessary cards. So that was a bad order from Juke. Again, and I'm going to repeat this so many times because both of them do it so many times. Don't play the cards that require information before the cards that give you information. In this case, you didn't yet know what boon you're going to get. You play the Bard first, and you might discover a boon that was relevant. E.g., what if you got, what's it called? The silver one. Mountain's Hex. You get Mountain's Gift, and it gives you a silver. You could have then drawn that with your market after having played the Bard. Or if you got Earth's Gift, you could like take a raise, play the market, try to draw the raise. Juke is just gonna green. My money's on Poetje here. I mean, I like how thin Poache's deck is. I think I would be looking to just like take a horde and start greening. Now we see how much they bid for Mountain Pass. 13 is a reasonable amount. That suggests that Poetje put up 12. I think 12 is a bit low. If I were Poetje, I'd put up like 13. And then 13, 14, around there is good. Alright, take Horde now, and then just buy green for the rest of the game. Or not. Nice time to activate your Hermit here. Are they doing it? They're doing it! They're gonna do it! Oh my goodness, it's happening! Oh, only 14 turns late. We're seeing Lurker Hunting Grounds after all. Okay. Juke has just discovered the Lurker Hunting Grounds combo. Oh, Counting House. All of a sudden, Juke's odds are looking better now that they've figured out Lurker Hunting Grounds is a thing. Don't buy a gold. Never buy golds. If you want gold, get the thing that gains you unlimited golds. Ay. It would be nice if Donald X had just made gold a non-supply pile, so that all of the newer players wouldn't have been led astray by the idea that buying gold is the thing that you're able to do. Well, the difference between spoils and non-supply gold is the spoils is temporary. Like, if people are under the impression that you could only gain golds via gold gainers like Horde or Courtier, they would play much more effectively. Poetje could raise the Hunting Grounds to get a duchy. I think I would do that here, actually. Speaking of which, does anyone here actually know Dutch or whatever language this is? I have no idea if I'm pronouncing their name at all right. 13. At this point, province seems pretty fine. Not really sure what you want for 5, though. Just duchy seems kind of sad. But maybe. I don't know why they want... I guess... If they have now noticed that lurker hunting grounds is a thing, then buying lurker makes sense. There's nothing else I would want to lurk. Alright. This weird backdoor lurker hunting grounds thing is not making a whole lot of sense. I think maybe Juke just noticed, like, 14 turns in that lurker hunting grounds is a thing, and they're like, alright, I'll do that after all. Alright, they're going to lower piles a bunch. Seems fine. Juke will likely be able to win this turn on either the hunting grounds pile or the raise pile. Maybe even duchies. Actually, duchies is probably easier than hunting grounds even. Yeah, this is a win for Juke. Just trash 2 hunting grounds and buy the last duchy. Or maybe trash 3 hunting grounds if you find another lurker. Yeah, that's a win in hand. They got 5 money. Well, now they got 3 lurkers outright as well. This could be the sweep for Juke. Is this their 5th win now, I think? I've lost count. 4th win? So far, Juke is undefeated. I can say that much. This one was weird. As it started out, Juke was just doing, like, bizarre nonsense. Like, ignoring raise and buying counting house. And then, all of a sudden, it seems like, I don't know, like someone else walked up to the computer and were like, what the hell are you doing? That's lurker hunting grounds. And they're like, oh, I understand now. And then all of a sudden, they kicked it into gear and did the right thing. Because, yeah, for the first few turns of this game, when they were both ignoring the lurker HG combo, it was looking decidedly in Poetje's favor. Well, this kingdom looks awful. I hate this. Oh my lord. Bunch of cursors, a bunch of attacks, nothing here looks at all pleasant. Oh my. Oh my. I don't even know what you do here. Just weep. Oh, Mort knows the answer. It's more like Poetje. Alright. Honestly, close is more than I was even hoping for with a Dutch word. I saw that and I was just like, I'm going to butcher this. So what do you do here? I guess Witch is good. Banquet for Witch, maybe? Is something I would think about if I had the 3-3. 4-2 seems like it kind of sucks. I guess I would strongly consider taking a Beggar. Like, you're probably going to get attacked 1,000,001 times over the course of this game, and that'll get you some silvers. Man, I don't want to think about this kingdom. It just looks so gross. I think on 3-3, maybe you could Banquet for Witch twice? Or maybe Banquet for Witch buy silver? Banquet for Witch, Banquet for ill-gotten gain, something like that. I'm not totally sure what I'd do. Alright, I like Juke's opening so far. I think Poetje's opening is solid. I think Double Witch is fine. I can get behind both of these openings. Okay, if I'm Poetje and I see they've opened double witch, I think I would not take a second witch. I think I would just take a second IGG, or a first IGG, I mean. It gets you the cursing a bit faster. But a third witch seems excessive. Like, if you're looking to eke out that last curse on the curse split, I think IGG is probably going to do that more effectively after the first or second witch. But boy, is this kingdom going to be degenerate. What was Juke's shuffle luck? Oh, did they... Wait, what happened? They bottom decked both witches. On the one hand, that's incredibly gross. On the other hand, they do have like 16 cards in their deck because of all the coppers. So I guess it's also not that unlikely. It's not like a true sombrero. So, this is too many witches. Juke is really overdoing it. Like, 2 witches, I think, was fine. They got a bit unlucky. Those witches were not that likely to collide. This was more bad luck than you could account for. But they're going to have a bunch of terminal collisions coming up pretty soon. IGG. Your opponent has like 4 witches. Best way to not get behind the curse split is just get a bunch of IGG. The issue, I think, with the Banquet IGG Duchy thing, like, it's not a bad idea. IGG Rush usually works where, like, imagine there's no witch around and no cursed gold. You just buy 10 IGGs and give your opponent 10 curses, and then both your decks suck, but your deck sucks a little less, and then you buy 8 duchies before they can do anything else. And then curses, IGGs, and duchies are out. One potential issue with doing that in a kingdom with like cursed gold and witch around is the curses might run out well before the IGGs do, and then you won't have emptied a third pile because curses will be out and duchies will be out, and then you just like, do you just buy a bunch of like sad IGGs that don't curse to empty piles? Maybe. And so that could definitely be a thing, but it's nerfed a bit by the fact that curses will run before IGGs. Probably by a good margin, given how many witches they have. I'll be buying the IGGs to win the curse split regardless, but I'm not sure if I would just go straight for duchies afterwards. I haven't been watching closely enough, but there's definitely situations here where buying a strategic inn could be like really good. Like, if you're towards the bottom of your shuffle and you buy an inn to top deck like 2 witches and an inn, that could be getting you like 2 extra curses in. Like sometime, maybe around now, for example, for Poetje. I'm not sure how many witches they have down there, probably 1 or 0. But like, theoretically, if they'd played 2 witches already or something, like this would be a good time to buy an inn. I don't like the Legionary. These decks are just going to be thick full of junk. And even if you buy gold, the chances you line up the Legionary with the gold are not very high. On 5s, from here on out, I mean, IGG while curses are still there. But like, Haunted Woods, Inn, Falconer all look better. Maybe not Falconer. Probably not Falconer. I don't like Falconer that much here. As Poetje, I'm probably buying gold here. I hate saying the words I'm buying gold, but this is the kingdom where I think I would buy gold. Especially if they already have a Legionary in their deck. Which predictably does not line up with the gold. Banqueting for a puka feels like a measure in futility. You gotta play that puka twice just to trash the coppers that you took from getting the puka. Oh, goodness me. That's a lot of coppers gone. Wait, so they've emptied 18 coppers from the supply, I believe? Because there'd be 48 with cursed gold around. Have they banqueted that many times? Buys a banquet. Yeah, they've banqueted 9 times between them. Who did most of that? Jay buys a bank. So Juke has banqueted 7 times. That's a lot of times. Maybe they're going for the cursed duchy copper pile out. Wow, what were the odds of this happening? I like how there's a curse and a gold, and in the middle is the cursed gold. It's like a nice little sequence. It was not important that they play the cursed gold there. Could have saved themselves a click. This is just a sad kingdom to watch. All the cards themselves are just a lot of cards that I dislike. Legionary, Ill-Gotten Gains, Witch, and they come together in a particularly gross manner. I think either of them could have easily influenced that curse split pretty heavily by buying IGGs. Or even banqueting for IGGs. Like, I think my ideal opening involves Banquet for Witch once, and then the silver's fine as an option. Even double witch opening, I think, is defensible. But I think after getting the second witch for sure, I'm taking IGGs over witches to help me win the curse split. Inn is also like actually better than Village here. Inn is usually like awful, but given how much junk they have in their deck, the sifting is pretty nice. If you're discarding 2 curses anyway, then Inn is basically like a lost city. Legionary lining up with Legionary. I would rather be spending my limited terminal space on like Haunted Woods, I think, at this point. Like in Haunted Woods seems like a pretty nice set of $5 buys. Haunted Woods, especially with all these like curses and stuff around, could potentially hurt a lot. I think I'd start wanting to buy duchies pretty soon on 5. Like, these decks are thick enough that adding one more green card doesn't hurt them that badly. And Inn is already a pretty low pile that you might be wanting to buy more of. I think if I hit 5 for sure, and maybe even on 6 or 7, I'd buy a duchy. Duchy's probably better than gold as well now. Why do we need 3 Royal Seals? That's a very good question. Have you ever wanted to top deck a card more than once? Actually, I guess you can't do that. Like, even if I had multiple Royal Seals and I wanted to declare that I had technically top decked a card 3 times, if the first Royal Seal moves the card to the top of my deck, I guess the other Royal Seals lose track of the card, and then they can't top deck the already top decked card anymore. What a shame. Royal Seal is a card I honestly kind of forgot within the kingdom. My strategy with Royal Seal is just to ignore it and play the 9-card kingdom that remains. Oh, look, 2 Royal Seals in the same hand. Which Royal Seal do you want to top deck with? Important choices. So they Royal Sealed a gold to now be able to Royal Seal another gold. This is just like a really shitty version of Reap. Hi. I think Poetje's in the lead. I mean, they have a points lead, and I'm not sure like Juke's deck is even better, let alone better enough to compensate for that. I don't like the Legionary buys. I don't think I'll play the Legionary here at all. Poetje has lined up Legionary again, though. Wait, no, he said it was Poetje. I've gone back to mispronouncing it. In my head, it's almost like Poacher. That's actually pretty painful Legionary. Even though they're just discarding 2 victory cards, those are things they would have liked to discard with their in instead. I don't like the choice to play Puka there. These are decently good cards that I don't think I would want to make miss the shuffle. Well, as it turns out, they hit Province, but I think I would have just played it safe and bought a Duchy, get an attack, and then hit 8 later. Ended up not mattering. Alright, so Poetje takes the game. Can they bring it back to 2-4? We'll find out. The final game. This looks strong. This looks very strong. Whew. So you have Bridge, but you also have Horn of Plenty. I am conflicted. So on the one hand, Horn of Plenty is kind of generally like Bridge, but better. Because they're basically just like, gain a card at any cost. But Horn of Plenty has this nice little benefit of not being terminal, which makes it very easy to get in play. But a good argument for playing the Bridge deck here is Throne Room's around, and you can Throne Room a Bridge very easily. But you can't Throne Room a Horn of Plenty. It'd be cute if Crown were around, and you could choose whether to Crown Bridge or Crown Horn of Plenty. In any case, what do you do here? So Vampire seems like the most important thing to me early on. You really want to get Vampire because getting the bat from Vampire is going to be the only way to trash. I think to that end, I would probably open Bridge Silver or Bridge Wishing Well. Bridge Wishing Well, I think. I really don't want Silvers in my deck. I think I would take Bridge Wishing Well, try to get Vampire ASAP, And then I'm looking to get a bunch of like throne rooms, bridges, and sleighs. I would not be unhappy to add some grand markets into that maybe, although that's not the card I'm necessarily most aiming for. If you play a bridge and then play a vampire, that's probably the most likely way to get grand market. Yeah, I don't think I would bid a whole lot for Mountain Pass here, because my strategy, I think, involves getting all the provinces at once with bridge. I'd be happy to let them have the points if they let me have an extra turn. And the debt would really hurt if you don't have a whole lot of money in your deck. Oh no, Poetje, no, no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. This is bad. This is real bad. Treasure map is, oh no. Treasure map's a bad card. It's a really bad card. It's a really, 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 really bad card. So first off, why do you want golds? You don't want golds here at all. You know, like even taking 4 golds is just like not a good thing for your deck if you can do it, because it's 4 more stop cards, and the end game here does not involve buying a bunch of provinces for a lot of money. It involves gaining a bunch of provinces for free with Horn and Mountain Pass, not Mountain Pass, Horn and Bridge, or Horn and or Bridge, probably just one or the other. Secondly, it's just so unreliable. Like you have to waste 2 buys, 2 $4 buys, which are kind of key in the opening phase, buying 2 junk cards that do nothing on their own, hoping to collide them. Then the turn you collide them, they do nothing. Then the turn after you collide them, they put 4 golds on the top of your deck, which kind of guarantees you can't draw that turn either. And then why do we have Fool's Golds now? Oh no. I hadn't even finished complaining about Treasure Map and you're buying another bad card. Okay, Fool's Gold also, I mean, it was great in the Donate game where you could just like trash all the cards that weren't Fool's Gold and then see all your Fool's Golds in hand every turn. Fool's Gold is just not the card here. I mean, if you're not trashing your coppers and estates, what are the odds you line up the Fool's Golds? Low. If you're adding a bunch of extra golds and junk to your deck with Treasure Map, what are the odds you collide Fool's Gold? Even lower. Like, look at this hand. Your Fool's Gold is basically just like an extra copper. Oh, this is so bad. Blah. Blah. Oh, that's hilarious. Juke's deck trashed Poetje's vampire. Juke's Hex trashed Push's Treasure Map. Words are hard. Which honestly is like kind of a favor. I'm sure Poetje is sad about that, but they really shouldn't be. Yeah. I don't like the Swashbuckler that much. I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's not a card that I'm really angling to get in my deck all that badly. I want Thrones and Bridges and Slay. Don't get more treasure. I mean, it's internally consistent with their chain of reasoning that if they thought Treasure Map was good enough to buy and then got it, that they're going to get more treasure maps. Oh no, is Juke doing the treasure maps too? Oh no. Oh no. It's not too late. You can trash both of those treasure maps right now with Bat. Kill it. Kill him. No. Oh no. Oh no. This is so sad. I got Horn and Bridge. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe they're not aware that Throne Room works as a village, and so I'll explain that. And maybe that's why they're mistaken. So, Throne Room is a nice card from the base set, lets you play an action card twice. And so you might be thinking like, oh, I can play a good card twice, and so Throne Room is basically as good as like having an extra copy of that good card. It's actually better than that. Because the benefit of Throne Room is that you only spend 1 action playing it, and you're getting the effect of playing 2 actions. Like if I had, say, 2 Swashbucklers in my hand, I would need 2 actions to draw 6 cards to play both of them. But if I had a Throne Room and a Swashbuckler in my hand, I could play the Throne Room, and then that Throne Room plays the Swashbuckler. And I've now spent 1 action on just the Throne Room, and then I've drawn 6 cards. So Throne Room on an action is basically like a village plus that action, because you get to play the action card a second time without actually having to spend an extra action on it. Throne Room on Throne Room is even better than that. Like imagine I wanted to draw with 4 Swashbucklers, and I had 4 Swashbucklers in my hand. I'd have to have 4 actions to draw with all of that. Now replace 2 of the Swashbucklers with Throne Rooms. I could play Throne Room 1 Swashbuckler, Throne Room 1 Swashbuckler. Now I've drawn 4 Swashbucklers worth of cards with just 2 action plays. 2 actions to play the 2 Throne Rooms. Now, best case scenario in that hand is I play the Throne Room, or 1 Swashbuckler, 1 Throne Room. Now I have 4 Swashbucklers in my hand. I have 4 Swashbucklers with Throne Rooms. Throne Room 1 Swashbuckler, Throne Room 1 Swashbuckler. Now I've drawn 4 Swashbucklers worth of cards with just 2 action plays. 2 actions to play the 2 Throne Rooms. Now, best case scenario in that hand is I play the Throne Room, on the other throne room, and now I'm playing that throne room twice, and then I choose Swashbuckler twice, each of the Swashbucklers with the second throne room. And now I've still played 4 Swashbucklers, still drawn 12 cards, and I only spent 1 action to do that, because I only had to spend an action on the very first throne room play, and then you had this little cascading effect where that throne room played the other throne room, which played the 2 other Swashbucklers, and all of that stemmed from the very first play. So throne room on another throne room is like an extra village effect over and above the generic village effect that each of those give you. I'm getting basically 3 villages out of 2 throne rooms. And so there's a lot of extra action to be had with chains of throne rooms. If you get thin and you chain a bunch of throne rooms together, then you can play a ton of cards here. In particular, I'd love to throw in some horses that I got off of sleighs to get some extra laboratory effects. So Proteus is asking, when you get a 4 gold turn, do you just grand market? I don't even know. Like, you shouldn't have a 4 gold turn. That's not a situation that should have occurred. So it's kind of hard to comment on what the ideal strategy is in that case. I guess grand market is still probably better than province. But yeah, I mean, the treasure maps are for like decoration. Like you've got all the cards you really want to have in the kingdom, and you're like, let's just fill the kingdom with a 10th junk card. And you're like, this treasure map art looks nice. Let's put it in the kingdom and look at it, but never touch it. That's how I would think about treasure map. I don't know why they bought treasure map. That didn't make any sense. So it's hard to comment on like what the theoretically best strategy is to do in a scenario where you're deliberately playing the bad strategy. I think I would probably buy a grand market before buying province. I wouldn't make an attempt to understand their plan, because whatever their plan is, it doesn't make sense. The ideal plan here, I think, is just bridge Megaturn. You could make a good case for a Horn Megaturn as well. But the basic idea here is get all the throne rooms, draw a lot of cards. The throne room pile is like one of the only 2 piles left that's still at 10. It is like easily the single most significant card in this kingdom by a large margin. And they have not touched it. Throne room is such a good card. Big throne room fan. I'd say it's one of the 3 best cards in the base set, alongside Chapel and Sentry. Alright, these 4 golds. Juke has now successfully further junked their deck. Turn 14. Honestly, the golds might even be worse than the treasure maps at this point. Because like the treasure maps you can at least play as Way of the Pig, so they're functionally not taking up space. And you can like cut your losses and just be like, these were a mistake, I'm going to pig them for the rest of the game. The golds are irreversibly a stop card in your deck that prevents you from having the turn. So now we're going to play some weird, like, half Fool's Gold, half normal gold, big money strategy. Yeah. At this point, I think we're just rolling dice to see who wins. There's not a whole lot more to say here. Play the throne room as a pig. Okay, that was good. No, don't play the coppers. Trash the coppers. Why do you... Juke has this problem where they just never trash their coppers. And it's so infuriating. Yeah, they could have trashed both provinces with Bat. It makes about as much sense as anything else that's happened this game. I don't understand why you'd A, want 2 coppers, and B, not want a vampire. Because you do have to trash at least one thing to get the vampire back from the Bat. And they decided they would rather not have good cards and instead have bad cards. Wait, did they just buy another treasure map? When do you plan on playing that? The game's almost over. Yeah, so Poetje has this other problem where if you have a singular treasure map in hand, you can at least play it as Way of the Pig, so you draw a card, you don't waste your action, and then the treasure map's at least of neutral value. And they're just not doing that instead. And it's basically like wasting a free draw. Maybe Poetje hasn't played with Menagerie yet and doesn't really understand how ways work, because they also are having this problem in game 1, where they were just like insisting on not drawing their deck. They had like so many draw cards in hand, and they would never play Way of the Chameleon. And they had like a clearly better deck, and they ended up throwing the game largely because they would just like never use Way of the Chameleon on anything but Squire. They were willing to use Way of the Chameleon on Squire for whatever reason, but they would not draw with their courtiers. Let's see. Game 1, Poetje had a good deck composition, but misplayed basically all the turns. But the deck composition was nice. Game 2, Juke played that one well. That was the like Fool's Gold Donut game. Then there was the game where I forget which game it was, but like Juke was just like click cards at random by a counting house, and then halfway through it clicked, and they're like, never mind, scrap this. I'm playing Looker Hunting Grounds, and that one worked well all of a sudden. This game was just utter madness. I have no words for this game. I don't understand what was going on. Who won? Juke won. Okay, so 5-1 for Juke. Congratulations, Juke. Condolences, Poetje. I think that was Poetje's first league match of the entire season, and I think they're one of the new players. So got the first league match under their belt, and Juke was 5-7, so I'm sure they're happy about winning 5 games because they've now performed better and upped their chances of winning. Good luck to y'all in the rest of your league matches, and I will now sign off.